I am so excited with this new, not so new phone. Um, I hope this doesn't fall. Either way, hey, how's it going? Let me throw these headphones on real quick, or these in ears. That's what they really are. On really quick. So, how is everyone doing? I am doing amazing. Thank you for asking. Because I finally got my sound quasi together. Now, there's just a few other things that I need to work out, but nonetheless, I am rocking and a rolling and a rolling and a rocking and a rock. Okay, that was extra. All right, one second. My stuff is being funny. I do have to actually undo this. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do this whole thing, this whole live. Hold on. Hold on, brethrens. My in ears were tangled, and so it was like hemming me up. So I was like, and I'm putting this on like I'm doing a show, like behind my head, all the things. But anyway, hey, okay. Um, I've got sound. I still want it behind the ear because that just look like it's choking me. Sorry for clearing my throat 800 times in directly in this mic. That works. Okay. Can we say hello? The mic works. Welcome. All right. I wanted you guys to experience my setup, but my setup don't want y'all to experience it. So anyway, because I can't turn it. I don't think. I don't think. Bear with me one second, guys. You know what? No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just play with it another time. But like I have a whole setup and it's just all like set up in by itself. Yeah. All right. Well, there's that. Anyway, so yeah, we were on live earlier and on Instagram. I got water for this very reason, even though I don't want to be drinking all in the mic. Anyway, so as I was saying, we were talking earlier on Instagram, and one of the things I was saying earlier, excuse me, or the topic earlier, if you missed it, was outside of your talents, what is one of your, or I'm sorry, what is your most valuable asset? What is your most valuable asset? Outside of your talents, what is your most valuable asset? Singular. Yeah. And what I said was your time. Your time is extremely important. What you do with your time, how you allot your time, who you give your time to, all of these things are really, really, really crucial and really, really, really important. And I just love how these things are like kind of tying together because yesterday I had a question that was like, well, what do you do if somebody promises to pay you, but then they're paying you in future opportunities? And I said, that's a dub. Like, I mean, unless I don't know. Like, I mean, unless you got the time, right? And you're chilling and it's not that deep and you're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do it for 400 bucks." And sure, why not? Being there is a good time, I guess. But you really have to start thinking about your time as currency because the biggest thing about time is that you can't get it back. I promise I will not fidget with this all show, but excuse me, you can't get your time back. So, what do you have to do? You have to be sure that you maximize off of the time that you actually have. That is crucial. That is important. That is a must. That's what you have to do. I'm sorry if you guys hear the fan humming in the background, but it is summertime in the Philadelphia, and I probably couldn't do the show without it. So, get used to a humming of a fan. Anyway, so I'm saying that to say um, we let's just piggyback. Let's just go back to all the things that we've done thus far this week. First thing we did was we asked what are the steps in becoming a professional singer. I laid that out for y'all. What's the difference between a professional singer and a singer who sings as a hobby? Laid that out for y'all. And then yesterday we went over how do you establish your rate. Gave y'all a whole formula, laid that out for y'all as well. And so today we're talking about your biggest assets that are outside of your talent, which would be your time. You know, if you're anything like me who's like paying attention to the things that are going on, if you're paying attention to um, marketing and just all of that, people are vying for your time. They're vying for your wallet, but they're always trying to maximize your time. If you think about Instagram, Instagram rewards you by spending more time on their platform. You look at just putting time in, people are trying to draw you into the store, obviously, to make you buy something, but they're always attempting and competing, or they're always competing rather, for your attention. They're vying for your time, which is why things are truncated now because it's like, oh, I only got the first, what, 7 seconds? Let me make sure I make this count. So, your time is really, really important. And why is it so important? Because it's something that you cannot get back. You cannot get time back. Oh my gosh, I'm wearing my own self out with this throat clear. Sorry, guys. But you can't get your time back. And so you have to treat it that way. You have to treat it like you can't get it back. And it's really precious because it is. It makes me think of this movie. Y'all remember that movie with Justin Timberlake? And it was like they were showing like time as money. And he fell in love with like the rich girl who basically they just had oodles and oodles and oodles of time, and he was poor, so he was from the other side of the tracks. That is such a great depiction of your time and how you should value it. That is such a great depiction on just the importance of time because money, like I said, money you can get back. Material things you can get back. If you lose it, you can get it back. You know, if your house burns down to the ground, which I don't wish on anybody, but if it were to burn down to the ground today, you have insurance policies that are set up to ensure that you have a place to stay and you know you have a coverage in where anything past a certain dwelling you can get that thing rebuilt right back up. Excuse me, gosh, I don't know what I did eat before I came up here, so maybe that's on me, I don't know. But when you look at that, it's like, oh, okay, well, that is replaceable, right? So the value of that, that's how you're able to put a value on it. So that's another thing I want to point out. Thanks, God. Look at you giving me answers and stuff. I wanted to point out that the reason why time is so crucial and what you do with it is because it's value. So, with like the example I just gave with the house, okay, the house burns down to the ground. They have a value of your house, and the insurance company is they. The insurance company has a value of your house, okay, that they have put on there for a builder to build back your house of the same value. You, something happens to your vehicle, you can get the vehicle replaced up to a certain value. There's a value that is given. With your time, you can't get it back, which is why it's so valuable. Which is why you want to really start treating it as if, okay, I can't play out here in these streets. Mm, can't do it. So I think I've driven the point home enough on why time is so important. And there's three different areas that I want to address with this time today. I think I just need one good cough. Hold on. Let's hope that did it. Because I don't know what's happening in here, okay? Um, I already know that didn't do it. I already feel it. Still feeling weird. Okay. So there's three areas that I want to kind of address. So each one has like little sub points and stuff like that. Listen, I'm trying to told y'all, okay? I care about y'all. I said, let me go on and get the people. Let me give them some good information. Um, so there's three things that I would like to actually address regarding time. I want to address what you should be doing with your time as a professional singer. I want to give you an example of what a schedule looks like as a professional singer. And I want to, hmm, okay, let's start with those two. Let's just start with those two because there's something else on here and I just can't read it because I don't want to be so silent on the live for too long. So, okay, the first thing that I would like to address is or are four things that you need to give your time to weekly. And we could kind of like snowball into like a schedule and like a scheduling example. But four things that you need to give your time to regarding singing as a professional singer. So, I'm gonna list them off first, and then we're gonna like double back and expound on it. All right, so it's rehearsing, writing, content, and building your catalog of knowing songs. Okay, so where the water? Because this is stupid. I'm fine. I'm fine. Nothing to see here. Okay, so I said rehearsing, writing, content, and building your catalog of songs. So let me just attack. I do most of these. I don't do all. Well, I'm working on doing more of them, but I want you guys to be better than me, right? So that's why I'm like, hey guys, pay attention. This is what I want you to do, or this is what you should be doing. I don't. You don't make me know never mind if you do it or not. But rehearsing. Okay. Now, rehearsing is really important because and some people would say, okay, yeah, sure. And then some people will be like, I could take it or leave it. Like, I don't really need to rehearse. I used to be one of those people. Like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, rehearsing? Like, seriously? And then I just started taking me a little bit more seriously. And I was like, bro, I really want to rehearse. Now, for me, what the aha moment was, you know, I like to liken the music industry, if you will, to the NBA. And it's one thing to be the best in your high school. It's another thing when you're picked in the draft and you're amongst the best of the best of the best. So rehearsing becomes then that thing that you're like, oh, I gotta make sure I stay. Yeah, I'm trying to stay in the league, you know? And so when you look at it that way, when you even look at musicians, right? It's so funny the battle between singers and musicians. Like singers are like, we musicians do, and we are. And then they're kind of like, I mean, but we don't really want to do all the stuff that the musicians do. But if you look at like a good musician, musicians be musicianing, right? They're out here and practicing. Every musician that I know that is good practices. I'll repeat that. Every musician that is instrumentalist, somebody that is actually playing something that is not their voice, they practice. So they are practicing bass, making sure that it's dexterity in their fingers and guitar. You know, they are practicing drums. You know, and I don't mean just like if a show's coming up, they're practicing the show. That's there too. But every instrumentalist that I know who does this on a professional level that is incredible practices. I mean, I've seen it though. So it's not even like a this is what they're telling me. Like I've seen it. Like I've seen my dear friend Spanky slash he really my brother, like for real, for real. But I've seen him practice. Like he don't play. He practices, he goes through stuff, he, you know, takes his craft really seriously. You know, I have seen Jeff Andy, my friend Jeff Andy, he plays guitar. I've seen him practice. Like I've seen people practice and really like sharpen their craft and really take their music seriously. And the singer should be doing the same thing. You should be for me, the reason why I do it more so is because I like comfortability and I like to be able to know that I can do something. And not just be winging it on the fly like and I like runs. Everybody knows that I'm a huge runner. So I like playing out with different runs, playing around with different runs. And so I like to get familiar and used to having safe landing places. There's times where I'll like run on something and I'll land in somewhere else, like someplace I never meant to land. I'm like, ooh, was that even a key? What was I thinking? What was I doing? But the more you practice, the more a lot of this stuff becomes muscle memory. The more a lot of this stuff is just so second nature. So it's anytime you open your mouth, you're really good. Anytime you know, and I know, I'll even say I know a lot of professional singers who are practicing like for real. Like Beyonce practices, y'all. She do. And people practice like they take their singing seriously. And the reason why I'm telling whether you're a new singer or you know you've been in this for a while, and I'm really harping on this point, it's because specifically if you're a new singer, you want to like really develop these habits. Like you really want to get used to doing these things that are going to help you, if you will, not only get better but remain. Remember, this whole thing is about becoming a professional singer if you're not already, and staying there. Yeah, we'll get to the money part essentially. Not like that, but you know, we'll get to the money and all of that stuff too. These are really important steps as well, though. So if you're not doing some of this stuff, like these are things that you really need to adjust in your life also, because they're going to start to open up other doors as well. Yeah. So rehearsing is pretty important, and it's pretty necessary. The next one I have is writing. So not everybody is a writer, okay? So I get that, and I'm not saying that everyone is a writer or should be a writer. However, this writing does include like vocal and vocal production. So here's the thing. If you are a singer, I'll just use background singing for example, and you're a background singer, your main job, I mean, aside from knowing the music that you're given from artists and executing backgrounds, seems pretty self-explanatory, but your main job is harmony. I will say that again. For the most part, your main job is harmony, especially in when you're in a setting and there's multiple background singers. Your main job is harmony. So what could writing look like if you're not an actual writer in that capacity? It would be, okay, let me sit down with a keyboard. And I'm not even saying you got to get a keyboard. It's like, oh, I left my pad in the other room. There's like piano apps, you know, you can ding 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 dung 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 dung. Oh, that's the harmony note to it. Like if you can become sharper with that, you want to become more equipped in that. When I was younger, and I realized how much God was like really in my life. Like when I was a kid, I would sing a song, and I would sing a song in sheer harmony just because I could. Just because I could. So that's probably why my ear is really sharp when it comes to harms and picking out notes and stuff like that. But I was saying, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna give an example. Uh, let's say Whitney Houston, right? How will I know if he really loves me? I know I made that like a tenor version, but nonetheless, I say a prayer with every heartbeat. I would go, how will I know if he really loves me? Why would I sing that low? I say a prayer. It's the melody. I say a prayer with. That's not it. Oh, I just sat there and talked about my ear. My ear said no. Bye. Anyway, if I go, how will I know if he really loves me? Yikes. I say a prayer with every part of it is that I'm trying to remember the words as well. Heartbeat, I do whenever we meet. Unless you know something big, if he loves me. I'm singing. Dun, 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 if he loves me not. If he loves me not. If he loves me. If he loves me not. I was just always singing in harmony. How will I know if he really just me. Like I would play around with the harmonies and stuff too, which is why I like vocal production so much. But I would really, really get familiar with harmony. Harmony was fun. Harmony is fun. I love harmony a lot. So like I said, um, if you don't write per se, I'm getting to the writers in a second. It's really, really crucial to do the other things. So yeah, that falls under rehearsing, if you will. But I'm just approaching this from, like I said, not everybody is a writer, but I think the main part that I want to like address in the writer section is development, if you will, and keeping yourself sharp. So it's like now I'm gonna talk to the writers. For the writers, if you write, you should be writing. You should be writing. Why? Because it keeps you sharp. It keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you creative. So it keeps you moving, if you will. And so it's really important that that muscle is constantly being used, because say you're called for I don't know, you're called to open, right? You're called to be on tour to open. So you're out here, you're opening. Let's say a couple days ago we were opening for Drake. Let's say this time we're opening for SZA, and they're like, hey, listen, we're gonna give you like a 30-minute set, blah 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 blah. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. And you find out that you got said opportunity because you used to write different um, songs and raps and do remixes on Instagram. I'm just pretty much still in my own life. And they understand you to be a creative person. You're in the same vein as SZA, if you will. Yet at the same time, you're able to produce. They're like, wow, you're really fresh. And because you're so fresh, like we've been seeing how your audience really engages with you, how they like you, how they love you, blah 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 blah. So um, it keeps you sharp. It keeps you I can't say it any other way besides the fact that it keeps your muscle moving, if you will, and that's really really important. So if you are a writer, right? I have a book. It's like this thick, and it's just blank, and I just write all my songs in there. An ex actually gave me that book. That's like one of my favorite books too, because it's really good. I don't I would be writing, and I still kind of do, but I would be writing on like napkins and receipts and stuff like that. And he was like, "You don't got a book?" And I was like, "I mean, I write so many songs like." And he bought me this book, and it's great. It's a great book, but it also it's low key intimidating. But but it's really a good habit to make it a point to write. Right. I used to not think that that was like a thing, because the way that I would get a lot of my inspiration it would just be inspiring. Okay, cool. I'm inspired. I'm just going to write this. Okay. I heard this. So I'm just going to write this. I heard this melody. So I'm just going to hum this. And it's important to get in the habit of sitting down and actually writing, intentionally writing, especially if you want to be a songwriter, especially if you want to be a singer songwriter. I should have used Janae Aiko. She's more of a singer songwriter. Okay, so you open up for Janae Aiko, and you get the opportunity because you're a singer songwriter. People see what you're able to put out, and people see, or the promoters will say, see what you're able to put out. The tour managers, they see what you're able to put out, and they're like, huh, you're in the same vein of what we got going on here. Plus, you're really creative. Plus, maybe now we're going to get you in the studio with Janae. Okay, and y'all can come up with a song and make it lit. You never know. But if you are a writer, you should be writing. You should be writing. You should be writing. There's nothing wrong with being intentional. In fact, that's probably my biggest message as a professional singer. Not biggest, but at least one of the top three biggest messages. Intentionality and self discipline is literally what's going to help sustain your career and move you along. Yeah, I could stand by that. hmm All right, so number three, content. content is really important in this day and age where it's content consumption, content consumption, Like, it's really important that you are putting out content, because the way it was explained to me was that it's like you're in a room and you've held up a sign and a few people have seen your sign, but you're in a huge, say, a gymnasium. And so you're only facing this one way, and only this small section of people see the sign that you're holding up. Only them. So, with that being said, they're the only people that's like signed up to you. They're the only people that really know you exist, or that you got anything going on. And so, since they're the only ones that know, this entire rest of the room hasn't been exposed to you. So, the more you put out content, the more people see you, the more people see you sing, the more people hear you singing, the more they remember you're a singer, the more they actually push your stuff out, like, yo, this girl is good. Check her out. The more that they are engaged, they'll engage. And the more that you give them something to engage with, they will engage. Also, you know what else? Then this just came to me. Say you put out like one song, right? I'm not talking about like a recorded song, but say like you record a cover and you put it out, and it doesn't do so hot. But say like 10 people, they may not say this to your face, but say like 10 people are like, ooh, I can't stand that song, right? They kind of chalk you up because now you're affiliated with this song that they don't really even like. And they're kind of like, ugh, say 10 people did that. Those people, when they see you now, they're just going to be like, oh man. Whereas if you put out another song and another song and another song, essentially you'll hit a song that they'll like. Now, here's the thing. I'm not telling people to get into the practice of pleasing people. However, you are in an industry where it's people based who are pretty much coming for you. So you do have to cater to your audience. So, you put out another song. Okay, that one's a little better. You put out another song. Oh my gosh, this is my song. It gives people variety. That's one. And then two, they get to see what else you can do. They can hear what else you can do. And then three, the people who are just discovering you can literally overconsume because you've got so many things up there. But the biggest thing, which is one of the things I said yesterday or the day before yesterday, was the importance of people knowing that you're a singer. They're like, oh, yeah, you're a singer, and you're a professional singer. They're not thinking to themselves like, oh, this girl is just singing for fun. They're like, oh, you do this consistently. I see. Nice. Okay, great. And that's like a tidbit for like the newbies and for current. Like, you really need to be intentional, and content is really important. I think I did for a long time because I was already working. I would put pictures up, I would do little things here and there, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then at the same time, people forget what your voice sounds like. I mean, it's really a thing. They forget, like, oh, yo, you are really good. Oh, you do got a really cool tone. Oh, like, you want to get people in the habit of hearing who you are and what you sound like, because even on an independent artist level, these are the people that are going to consume and buy your album. So when they buy your album, they're going to be like, oh, I loved her beforehand. She'd be dropping hit after hit after hit. I got an opportunity to really experience her beforehand, blah, 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 blah. And that's important. You want your audience to like your voice, right? You don't want them to not. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So get them used to them seeing you and hearing you and all of that, because this is what you do. If I were a makeup artist and I wanted to, not, I'm not gonna say, yeah. Let's say makeup artist. Say I'm a makeup artist and I want to put out these eyeshadows and I want to sell these eyeshadows to people. I'm not going to stop promoting and showing the eyeshadows just because Sephora picked it up, right? I'm going to still show people like, this is what these eyeshadows do. Here's purple. Look at how pigmented it is. Oh, here is, sorry for my men out there who are like so over this example, but you don't just stop just because you've been picked up. You do better. You evolve. You do more, I should say. It's the same to be true for singing and for your content. You want to always, it never wants to get confused who you are or what you do. I remember one time I got paid a compliment insult where somebody was on my page and they were just like, oh, so you're a model. And I was like, no, I'm a singer. But I had mad pictures up there and not enough video. Like, not enough, like, hey, I'm a singer. This is what I do. Hear me sing. It was like, girl, you is posing out here in these streets. Oh, girl, you is wearing that fit. Oh, girl, you. But I'm a singer, you know? Don't be like me. You don't want that. You don't want somebody to mistake you as something else. You want to be known as a vocalist. And on a professional level, that should be the very first thing. You know what else why? That wouldn't a proper sense. You know another reason why? Because when you are a professional singer, one of the very first things that other professionals do if they're interested in you is they're looking at your page, they're checking out your page, they're listening to you, they're seeing how you are, what you've done. Like social media is like your resume. So they all up in that thing. So it's really important that it stays updated like an updated resume. Capiche? All right, cool. This thing is still here. I don't know if it's a frog. I just don't know. Okay. Now this one I will admittedly say I was doing it like consistently, especially during COVID, and then I kind of fell off. But this is a really good piece of advice that I would strongly, strongly urge people to do. Self included. I'm gonna get my weight back up. Um, Build your catalog of knowing and having songs and sets. Okay, what do I mean by this? What I mean is the more songs you know, there's just such a benefit to it. So here's an example. Say, I did it my way. I learn my way. And I get a call and they're like, hey, we're gonna honor who's that? That's Frank Sinatra. Right, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. We're doing this, we're opening this Frank Sinatra museum. They are cutting the ribbon and we really would love for you to sing My Way on this date, blah 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 blah. And you go, okay, cool. That's pretty awesome. Now, one or two things can happen. Okay. Well, let me not get ahead of myself. Now I'm comfortable because I know my way. And I know it well. And so now when I go to sing it, it's natural. It's innate. It's, I could do all the different flary runs. I don't have to have a cheat sheet, and I know my way. I'm showing up and I'm singing it my way. Okay. Awesome. Super dope. Another flip to that could be somebody calls me yesterday and they're like, hey, we want to pay you $1 billion just to come in and sing my way. The only thing is that it's tomorrow. And you're like, what? Yeah, yeah. We need you to come and sing my way. Now, if I already know my way, it's a no brainer. Thank you. $1 billion, one song, sign me up. If I don't know my way, I'm in there like, oh man, I gotta learn my way real quick. And, Now I got to get over there. And there's some opportunities that you actually might miss because it's so short notice. You're not going to execute it well. Hear what I'm saying? You know that you're not going to represent yourself well, so you kind of have to decline. Like, man, I got to kick this to somebody else, or man, I can't do it. I hope you heard what I said. Don't just take the gig just because they're offering $1 billion. You want to take the gig because you can do it well. Because don't forget, even money is a thing, but at the same time, you represent you. And if you can't do something well, that's on you. You're gonna look crazy. Nobody else is gonna look crazy. Frank ain't looking crazy. He's dead, right? Yeah. Nobody else is looking crazy but you. You and your brand. You look insane. Yeah, she went up there and she was saying I did it byway, and I don't know what she was singing. You want to always represent yourself in the best possible way. So that's like one or two like cases on the flip flop side. Like you can have, it could be a ways off, but either way, you don't have to think about it, or it could be tomorrow, and you could be like, ooh. So having a bunch of songs under your belt, having a bunch of covers under your belt, it just gives you an opportunity to truly, truly maximize off of your voice and just be elevated a little bit more than your competition. So, I think of Shalea. That girl know all the songs, okay? And she just be a singing and a playing, and her voice is beautiful. And when you think about just like her Rolodex of songs, like you kind of want to be like that, even if you're an independent artist, even if you're, now I'm gonna tell you the other flip of that. If you're an independent artist or if you're a background vocalist or anything in that right, it's important to know these other songs because one, you get inspiration. Doesn't mean you're jacking and taking their whole thing, but say, I did it my way. I don't know why I changed the key, but either way, I did it my way, right? And then I flip it and I go, she likes it my way. I throw Usher in there, my way. When I say goes and I'm in control. And people are like, wow, that was like a really cool flip. It opens you up to a bunch of different mashups. It opens you up to just a bunch of different creative moments. And that's cool. Like people want to see they want to hear you sing your songs. They want to see you perform your songs. But, even Beyonce covers everything. Like, she be out here just a covering. She came yesterday. So, pretty much I went to the concert at this point because my whole timeline is filled with Beyonce stuff. But she, I forgot what cover she did, but I saw it online because someone posted it. And it was good. It was like, oh, okay, Beyonce took her own little spin on it or whatever. But all of those thousands and thousands and thousands of people who came to see Beyonce, as much as they love Beyonce and they want to hear all Beyonce's records and they want to sing right along with her and they want to film and they want to selfie and they want to do all the things, they want to hear the versatility. They would love to hear a song that she covers of somebody else that people know. She did X Factor for years. She covered X Factor for years at her shows, and it was beautiful. People want to hear that. And the other reason I would say on why you want to learn a lot of these different songs, a lot of these songs, you're paying homage to folks. So, if I sing a Stevie record, I was singing a Stevie song earlier, Rocket Love, I long for you since I was born, earlier. And you're paying homage. People are seeing what you're rooted in. People are seeing, what it is that helped cultivate you and cultivate your sound. And at the same time, a lot of these artists catch wind and they get to hear different flips of what you're doing. So it's just, you want to stay as immersed and knowledgeable as possible. And so I think this is a very, very important. And this is not just for my wedding singers. This is not just for my hotel singers. I would suggest this for everyone. Background singers, independent singers, signed singers. It's important to know other songs and know other songs in other genres. It really is important. It does something in terms of your creativity. So yeah, those were the four. That's the first point, and those are four sub points that I wanted to make in today's vid. So basically, what you should be doing with your time. So the other thing that I wanted to do was jump back to let me see if I can find what I was looking for earlier. Okay, now this is something that's really, really important. With your time, you have to know yourself. Okay, so you have to know how you work so that you can maximize your time. Okay, hear me when I say this. You have to know how you work so that you can maximize your time. What do I mean by that? Tanika, what do you mean by that? What I mean is this. If I know that I'm not a morning person, then if I wake up at 11, for the record, I actually am a morning person and I do not wake up at 11 unless I went to bed 2 hours before. But anyway, I wake up at 11, and I'm still like kind of groggy because even 11 might be a little too early for me. Like, if that is my MO, then I'm not going to say, all right, let me hit the ground running with writing. Like, my brain hasn't even fully awoken. I really don't even want to be awake. You know, I you have to know yourself. So for me, like, I'm more of a morning person, and I know that I'm sharpest between a certain block of time. So what does that look like? That means that I'm probably going to, or not probably, I'm going to get done the things that I need to get done, that require brain power, that require a little more effort and energy. And I'm going to put the stuff that is a little more easier, a little more, or a little less time consuming, or energy consuming, when I don't need to exert all of that. So, what does that look like? I'll give you an example. I hate invoicing. I still got an invoice that I gotta submit now. I hate invoicing. Okay. It is, it's not hard. What it is for me is like, I'm just such a person on making sure I've dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. And, when it comes to invoicing, you want to have your receipts together. You need this, you need that, you need blah, 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 blah. So for me, because I'm not that good at invoicing, which even though I owe an invoice now and I'm going to have to put it up, I'm going to have to do it like tonight after this. I would do this early. I would say, okay, let me do this morning because I'm quicker, I'm sharper, um, I'm a little bit more on it. So it makes sense for me to do that early. Does that make sense? So yeah, that was the main thing I want to say about that. It makes sense for me to do it early. Why? Because it's like, all right, well, I I need all my brain cells to function together, find these receipts, put these things out, and make this thing make sense. And I'm sharpest in the morning. So that's when I need to do it. Now, if it comes down to, okay, Tanika, I got to do a cover too, right? And I got to submit an invoice. Which one do you think that I should be doing first? It's it's I don't know, 9 a.m. Which one do you think I should do first? The invoice, exactly. Yeah, because the cover is a no-brainer. It's like, oh, that's fun. Oh, I get to play around. Oh, I get to sing. Oh, that. Yeah, it doesn't require much effort, and I like to do it, so it doesn't take so much, if you will. And that is the important of knowing yourself and actually maximizing on your time. So before I give you a sample schedule, there's something else that I wanted to bring up regarding time. The other, oh, you guys can almost see my setup. Okay. I don't know. I just threw my leg down and hit my stand. But anyway, the other thing that I want to point out is I am huge on working smarter and not harder. So what does that look like or mean for me? Let me see if I can do this subtly. Okay. What that means is, so for invoice, right? And I don't even know why I haven't submitted this invoice yet. Oh, because I think I have to go look up receipts. So what I find is easiest for me is like I'll start the invoice. Okay, I know I did this show, California, such and such and such and such. I did this date. Okay, this is my rate. I'm gonna expect because I had to fly. Um, well, what airline did I fly? Let's say I flew JetBlue or no, usually I kind of have it already set up. So it's like bags. Some airlines I have free bags, some airlines I don't, but I'll have it in there already set up. Boom. Then I have different expenses about all these things. And as I'm going during the week, I'm plugging it in. Okay, let me add this. Okay, let me add this. Okay, let me add this. Because then now at the end, when I'm ready to submit everything, all I have to do is submit it. Like that's it. I just have to find the receipts and submit it. And it's great. It's an easy system. Why? Because you work smarter and not harder, even though I'm being a poor example of that right now because I still owe an invoice, but that's okay. You have to know yourself, and it's easiest to really work smarter, not harder. Like, I can't say it any other way. Um, okay, so yes, that's the work smarter, not harder thingamajig. And we went over 4 things that you need to give your time to weekly as a professional singer. And so the last thing I want to do is give you a sample schedule. So my schedule is ever changing, okay? Just because there's just a lot of things going on, but I do want to give you an example of what it looks like as a professional singer per let's just do a day first, okay? And then I can expound on a week or so. But all right. So, as you all know, I'm a fan of working smarter, not harder. So, what it'll look like is I'll wake up and I'll try to wake up early. So, I'll wake up anywhere between maybe 6:30 and let's say 8. It depends on how late I went to bed the night before. So, say I woke up, when did I wake up today? I woke up today about no, I woke up today at like 7:30. Um, say I have a 7:30 day. I woke up at 7:30, right? I pray, I have my time with God, and after that, I go run. Now, again, you should know yourself. For me, I hate working out. I use the H word. Hate it. Hate. Hate. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to give what takes more energy, what takes more effort. I'm going to get that out the way. I'm going to do that first. Boom. Let's get that out here. Let's get that out the way. So, I work out. Once I work out, once I get out the way, I honestly feel like I've conquered the world. I'm like, yes, did one of the main things that I hate to do and I did it well. Yes, and it's still early. I don't have to worry about later. I don't have to worry about dragging. So I get home, I shower, um, and then I'll have like a shake or so, or breakfast, whatever I'm having, but typically it's a shake. And I do my administrative work. Why? Because it's still early. My brain still is sharp. So I need to do things that my brain needs to, anything that requires extra brain cells. Look, let's get this out the way. Boom. Let's do it now. All right, cool. Let's just get her done. Yes, get it out the way. So I'll do my administrative work. So we're talking about invoicing. We're talking about having business calls. We're talking about, um, pitches. We're talking about talking to different companies. We're talking about anything that is administrative, anything that requires officey esque kind of thing. I get that out the way. Why? Because it takes a certain level of sharpness. After that, it's usually like around lunchtime or so for me. So sometimes I have lunch, sometimes I don't. Depends on the day, depends on what I'm doing. And then from there, it's rehearsal time. Then I'll be singing, or mine is kind of lumped together. Since I write, I do singing and writing, um, or writing and singing, whatever it is. Oftentimes too, I'm like doing my content, so I'll throw that in the mix as well. Um, but these are all things that are under the creative umbrella, but yet and still working that creative muscle. And so I can do that after lunch. Why? Because it doesn't require so much energy. Sometimes it does though. I'm not gonna lie. Especially when I'm writing my raps out. Sometimes I'm like, what rhymes with map? I don't know what rhymes with map. Like sometimes it can be like that, So um I have to make sure, if you will, that I do leave and give myself a little bit of grace. But I do try and give myself a good chunk of time to do this because um it needs it, like, and I want to be able to flow. Creativity is all about flowing, so you want to be able to give yourself some flow. Now it is important to, I have a note here that says that alarms are your best friends. Alarms are your best friends. um what else is your best friend? What's that thing? Reminders are your best friends. Because when you give yourself, say I give myself, I don't know, 3 hours creative time, like that time can really escape you. And let's say right after that is, I got to jump on live, right? Say I got to jump on a live. Then it's like, oh man, all right, let me make sure I make time so that I can, blah, 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 blah. If you don't have stuff set in place, like it'll overlap. And it's really important to practice like timeliness. Why? Because you're a professional singer now. Professionals are professional. It's really, really, I know some of the most unprofessional folks. And when I tell you them people be on time, I'll be like, oh, you want this gig, huh? Because your mouth is terrible. However, your timeliness is on point. You want to be professional. These are all little things that you really just want to keep practicing. You want to keep doing, because once you keep doing them, they become innate, they become habits, and you do your job well. Yeah, so then from there, I'll probably eat, or I'll try to eat beforehand. Um, and yeah, like sometimes the rest of my day is free after that. It depends. That's like a off, like if I'm not on tour, that's like if I'm not at rehearsals, that's like a free-ish day. You see that it's still not free. Like you still see that I still have stuff that I have to do for myself. There's still things that I need to still be um making sure are done for myself. Like that is what it looks like. You have to be on it. Another thing is, that's like I said, a day that I had off. Say there's a day that I have rehearsal. So now if there's a day that I have rehearsal and I know that I got to drive 2 hours to rehearsal, then that means that I either have to wake up a little bit earlier so I can get done a lot more things, or like I have to really be strategic about my time. So say I have rehearsal at 6. In order for me to have rehearsal at 6, that means I got to leave at 4, which means that I technically only have up till about 4 o'clock to get done all the things that I need to get done. Excuse me. So if that's the case, that means, all right, I got to practice earlier. I got to get up early and make sure I work out. I have to get up and make sure I make these calls. I have to get, like, you have to be really, really, really intentional about your time. I'll say it again. You have to be intentional about your time, baby. You have to be intentional about your time. And so the last thing I want to say in the last 5 minutes, I hope that helped, and I hope that sample schedule. Like I said, that was like a off if I'm not on tour. Now, if I'm on tour, I'll give you an example. If I'm on tour, depending on the day, say that it's a show day, right? So show day, it's kind of tough to give you an example because depending on the time of the show and the venue, things could vary. But let's just say, let me put the variables in place. Say it's show day. I have a show at, um, say that the show is at 9. Okay. Um, I'll get up, I'll talk to God. We have our chat. He tell me what he want me to do. And then from there, I'll try and make it to the gym. go down to the hotel gym, uh, work out, come back up, shower. Now, I do actually travel with my setup. And then from there, I'll try and do a cover, or I'll try and do a song, or I'll try to do something and record it. And say a lobby call is at um, 1, right? Lobby call is at 1. It's going to probably be from like 1:30 to 6:30, 5:30, 6:30. So that's like a chunk of time taken out the day, but I can't stop doing the things that I'm supposed to do because I'm a professional singer. But I also still need to show up on time. I also still need to show up prepared as well. So knowing that my time is going to stop at about 1, 12:45, 1, that means that I only have from whenever I wake up till 12:45, 1. And in that time, I need to do all the things that I need to get done to be sure that I can show up on time. So say hypothetically, I don't know, I pulled a muscle in my elbow. That's random. I did that on purpose because there are no muscles in your elbow that I know of. Anyway, say I did that, right? And it's preventing me from doing this move. I don't know what move that is, but let's just say that's what it's doing. So that means I got to figure out finding a masseuse. Okay, I got to get that taken care of because I don't want anything to encroach or impede me from doing my job. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I hope that helped. I hope it's such an untraditional job. So there's a lot of untraditional things that you'll be doing, but you have to do them. And you should do them, and you should get in the practice and the habit of doing them. Say that I flew in to Hawaii, but it was a really long flight. Say it was like 2 days, 4 layovers. Lord God, never, please, Lord, never let me have that as my flight. But just say hypothetically, that's what happened. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be fatigued. So what am I going to do? I'm going to probably be on vocal rest for a little bit. I'm going to try and find a masseuse there and get me a massage, then knot it out because, that's necessary, especially when you're like trying to move and do your job of movement. If you've got choreography or just even being personable with people, you want to be sure that your body is taken care of. So yeah, you want to do all the things that you need to be able to do your job and do your job well. In addition, you want to be sure that you are making sure that you are taking care of your career as well. So yeah, yeah. That was one last thing I wanted to say before I said the one other last thing. All right, so the other last thing. This is the last thing is time and the importance of time and money. So you want to take into account. All right, cool. Perfect example. The example of the Frank Sinatra show earlier. Um, hey, they're calling you. They want you to do My Way, and you're like, crap, I don't know My Way. And they're like, okay, well, the show's not until let's flip the scenario just a smidge. The show's not until um a week and a half away. A week. Let's just say a week. It's a week away. Um, are you going to be able to do it? And we also might have you do one extra show. Or I'm sorry, one extra Frank song. And you're like, oh man, I don't know none of these Frank songs. So they're like, what is your rate? Now remember, we said yesterday that the rate is experience plus event plus time. Um, and then we put in parentheses and whatever it takes to do your job. So that should be your rate. So they're asking you, well, what is your rate? You have to think about the time that it's going to take you to learn 2, 3 Frank Sinatra songs in, I won't even say a week. Let's say it's like 4 days, right? And you need to know them well. You have to take that into consideration because now what I need to do is allot all of my time towards this. So I can't take any other gigs or I can't do anything else because I need to exert all my energy here. So what does that mean? That means that, okay, I might actually be taking 6-hour days, like cramming and learning and learning and cramming and learning this music. So I need to really make sure. Did I say 6 days? I didn't mean to say that because I said I only have four. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I need to be sure that 6 hours. That's what I said. I need to be sure that each and every one of these moments are used learning Frank Sinatra songs, at least these three Frank Sinatra songs that they're bringing up to me. And, this is going to take this amount of time. This is how I learned this. So, you have to calculate that. And so from there, the other things that you do won't be able to get done either. So, again, you can't split yourself and do other stuff for the sake of time. You have to be able to do one thing or whatever that thing is. And now you have to think about, okay, it's going to take me, if I allot 6 hours this day and maybe 2 hours the next day, and then on the third day, I'm going to allot another 6 hours or so. You're calculating that time. You have to calculate that time. You have to calculate that time. Because like I said, that time now is blocked off. It's used. You can't do anything else with it. I'm the queen of multitasking, but it's really challenging to multitask and learn a song and do other things well. It's pretty much unrealistic. Okay. So that was the last thing that I wanted to really point out about your time and why it's important to maximize off of it, because there's only certain things specifically as a singer that you can do. You can't, like I said, split yourself in two and do another job at the same time. So these are things that you have to think about. Hey, how long is it going to take me to learn this? Hey, how long is it going to take me to feel comfortable in this? Hey, how long is it going to take me to learn this choreo? Hey, how long is it going to take? All of this is time. And you always want to keep in the forefront of your mind that you want to do your job, but you want to do it well. It's one thing to, I did it my way, right? Till you're blue in the face. But it's another thing to do it well. Or, I mean, that was a quote unquote well example. But say I did it my what, where it's like real confused. You're not even sure if this the part you're supposed to be singing. You don't even know. Like, you did it though. You thugged it out. You made it through somewhat. But did you do it well? I mean, because think about it, guys. I'm not even like I'm being funny, but at the same time, I'm not, because this is what is separating what did they say, the boys from the men. Like, this is what's separating the okay, she cool, she got a little something, she got a little from a professional. This is what's making you sound different and solid, and making me want to call you back, and making me say, oh, you do this for real, oh, you know what you're talking about, oh, you this this. So that was the last thing that I wanted to point out. I wanted to point out thinking about and taking into account your time, what it takes to be able to do your job well. And, it ties into yesterday's formula, because it's important. What does it take for you to do your job and do it well? Because you don't want to just do your job. You want to do it well, because guess who you represent? You represent you, right? So why would I want to represent me halfway and corny? Like, am I trying to do this for real or no? If I'm trying to do this for real and I'm trying to, really put out there what I am and who I am and how I do things, then I need to do it for real. I can't do that. Can't do it. I can't do it. So yeah. Just a little quick recap. We went over 4 things that you need to give your time to as a professional singer. We said that's rehearsing, writing, content, and building your catalog of knowing new songs, right? So I don't know what I was doing, but 4 things. Okay. Then we talked about knowing yourself and how to maximize on your time. So like, if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, baby, you gotta figure it out. Okay, well, I know I wake up at 3 because I'm not really a morning person. That's kind of like how I get stuff done. So, okay, if you waking up at 3, you also don't need to be going to bed dumb, what's the word I was looking for? Early. You can't be waking up at 3 and being like, all right, I'm going to bed now, 10 o'clock. Mm-mm. you need to maximize off of this time. And so maximizing off of this time, what it looks like is figuring out, I mean, I would suggest changing your circadian rhythm, but that ain't up to me. But you have to figure out how to maximize a day like that. That's not my circadian rhythm, if you will. So um I don't necessarily wake up like that. I have friends that do, and they maximize their time. So you have to know yourself, you have to be realistic in knowing yourself, and you have to really, really like execute good time management. Singing is a lot about good time management. Okay, professional singing, I should say. And then the final thing we said, what I gave an example of my schedule, like on a non-tour day and on a tour day. And then right after that, I wanted everybody to keep in mind the time that it takes to do your job and to do your job well. So if you're learning you're learning songs, you're learning new material, and you have a certain amount of time, you want to take all of that into consideration, and then that also coincides with your fee. Okay, it's going to take me, so that example I gave, I was like, okay, 6 hours this day, 3 hours the next day, 6 hours after that. So that's what, 15 hours. 15 hours of time. So, okay, it's going to take me 15 hours of time to do this job and do this job well. All right. And then that goes and plugs into your formula, right? From yesterday. So that's what you want to think about. You want to think about what it's going to take you. What is it going to take me to do my job and do it well? It doesn't mean that you're fully comfortable in it either, right? I might sing my way, and I hit every note and I sang every word perfectly, but I was like, dang, I could have put this run here. I could have did this, or I just didn't fully feel as comfortable in it. But you did your job and you did it well. That's what we're looking for. You doing your job and you doing your job well. I would love for you to be comfortable though. But if they're calling you about Frank Sinatra and you got a day to get it together, you know, you may not do it as well as or as comfortably. You would do it well, but you might not do it as comfortably as you would have liked. So that's just something to think about and keep in mind. Your time is one of your most valuable assets outside of your talent. TNT, time and talent. Or I should say talent and time. So, yeah, I mean, if you like this video, please feel free to share. Please also feel free to subscribe. Please subscribe. I plan to be doing this for 30 days straight, giving mad information. I have nothing but like notes and all the things down here. So, I'm here. I hope y'all here too. Okay. So, I hope that you really are able to maximize on the information that I'm giving to you and I'm giving out. And I hope that you are enjoying all of this. And I hope that you really get to apply it. That's really my hope too. So, yes, please feel free to subscribe. Please feel free to share. I would appreciate that for all my fellow singers out there. Please share. All right. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me. That is going to do it for today. And I hope that you had, or gathered rather, a lot of information from all of this. All right. I'm out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow.